A Hungarian software engineer named Viktor Toth has just done the impossible. He has kidnapped some rats and forced them to play video games. Kidnapping may be a strong term. These rats apparently signed consent forms to be able to do this, but this is still insane. Basically, Toth and this team of scientists took these rats and they decided, you know what? We see some rats, we see these rats hanging out, they're eating cheese all the time, they're in major cities, always taking everybody's food. We're going to get our revenge. We're going to make these rats play video games and have them see what it's really like to be a human, since they are so insecure about taking our food. It's not like they don't have roofs over their heads and don't have the luxury of having the cognitive abilities to found a capitalist and communist and socialist systems to perpetuate economic instability and politics. But they took these rats and they basically gave them enough technology and training to be able to play the 1994 iconic first-person shooter Doom. This experiment started in 2020, so 6 years ago, and there are multiple versions of it, version 1 and version 2. Now, all it took was a polystyrene ball, a curved computer monitor, and some sugar water. Not really sure what the sugar water is. Is it vitamin water? The vitamin water is sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's sort of in the middle. Vitamin water, if you want to sponsor these episodes, let me know. But they didn't specify what the water was. The sugar water was used as an incentive for the rats to do specific movements and move in certain ways to have the Doomslayer in the game, the Doomslayer is the protagonist of Doom, do these certain things so that they could complete the game in a timely manner and achieve all of the stated goals and objectives that the scientists set out for them, of which I'm still not sure. But what I am sure of is that this is amazing. This whole experiment is reflective of how rats can be able to achieve human activities, and not even rats, but non-human animals in general, could be able to engage in human-ish activities every day of their lives. Could you imagine how amazing that is? It's not something that I could see benefiting the human race, nor do I really see the purpose in trying to frame it that way, but I do see this being an amazing indication of what is going to come into the future. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But first, let's talk about how crazy this is. So the rats' movements were translated into the rotations of the polystyrene ball, which were then translated into the movements of the game. So it's not like they were given rat-sized controllers and were sitting there doing all this, just pretend I had a controller in my hand. They weren't doing all that. They were given a ball, and it was basically like a treadmill for rats. And as they were moving on the treadmill, so was the character. And they had specific functions on the treadmill, and this is where we get into the technological explanations that were translated into the firing of the weapons and picking up items and doing this and that. All of the movements that they needed to successfully complete the game. So they have an actual website that goes through all of the characteristics of this experiment, each and every step, from the intro to the separate versions to the technological components that went into it to the ideas and the team, even the names of the rats. We built a complete VR setup from scratch to let rats play Doom. The system includes a motion-tracked treadmill ball, a panoramic headset, an input trigger, and a reward circuit. All hardware and software components are open sourced, including 3D printable designs, circuit diagrams, firmware, and control software. That is a lot of technology to dedicate to some rats playing a video game. You need to think about all this. You need to think about what it takes to make an experiment like this so unique and incredible. You need to go out there, get some tech, give it to some animals, and say, I'm going to make some cows play Super Mario Brothers. That is a great waste of time. The first version was built in New York by Victor, who trained rats to walk through a corridor in Doom using a simpler rig. So all they were really taught in the beginning was how to just walk. They weren't really taught how to fire, how to do other things, pick up ammunition, do stuff like that. They were mainly taught just how to walk. But as time built on and we learned from our mistakes and we learned from the last blueprint, we could then teach these rats how to do other things in the game, like how to jump. Limitations. We reached the point of rat habituation but did not start training. Our rats, Todd, Kojima, and Gabe respectively, aged out before full testing. The setup works, but behavioral validation is pending. The hardware included the comprehensive VR rig designed for rodents. It consisted of a motion-tracked sphere that captures the rat's movements, a custom-built trigger for in-game actions, a curved panoramic screen for visual immersion, and an automated reward system that dispenses the sugar water to reinforce behavior. All of these components were mounted on a modular aluminum frame, creating a complete, self-contained environment for the rats to interact with the game. That is amazing. When you think about dogs that are trained for militaristic purposes, to be able to track down certain people, or even for law enforcement, to track down certain criminals, to be able to track scents and just look around certain areas, be able to guide people to where they need to go, it's truly amazing how animals, non-human animals, let's be specific there, non-human animals are able to help human animals, i.e. us, in our day-to-day lives. And then to do something like this, I mean, this isn't really helping people, but rats are having fun now playing video games. Who knows what else they're going to do? And this brings us to our next point. What are the impacts of this experiment going to be? Now, practically, I don't think this experiment has a lot of practicality with us. I don't think it's really going to make an impact. I think it was just an attempt by some people to waste time in a good way. Have fun by seeing the limitations of what rats can and cannot do. But I think this is an indication of something even further. What if these rats will gain the cognitive abilities to evolve and become the higher level species on the planet Earth? What if they overtake humans and become the new dominant civilizations? They become the governments that control the economy, that perpetuate and disseminate the money. They become the politicians, the bankers, the world leaders, the United Nations ambassadors, the law enforcement officials, the entertainers, the street people who do dancing tricks. What if they become all of those people and they overtake us? Rats are the new humans. It's a plot, I tell you. It's a plot for them to overtake all of us. By day 1, it's play video games. By day 90, it's run the world. The website even goes in further detail by giving specifics on how the technology was put together in the first place. It has 3D models, it shows how they were put together, it shows all the components that were used, basically the blueprints behind how this experiment was even put together at all. And I think that is impressive. I think that the fact that we can build technology and cater it towards these weird and specific things, it shows the limitations of what the human mind can do. But let's not focus on that. Let's talk about these rats. These rats were trained specifically to run in certain directions, to be able to move the game progress forward and take the game to another point. These rats are the new gamers. At the very least, if you don't want to believe that they're going to run the world, these rats are going to be the next faces of esports. That is incredible. I mean, think about this. We don't give non-human animals enough credit. We look at dogs, we look at cats, we look at bears and jaguars and cheetahs and giraffes and rhinoceroses. We look at all these animals and we just see stupid creatures probably. I mean, when was the last time you went out and you saw a deer and you said that deer is very intelligent? It just ran out in front of my car. That is a very intelligent deer. Saw my headlights coming right away, and you know what its response was? It was like, hey, I'm a deer. What's up? What's up? You want a piece of me? Headlights? You want a piece of me? And then it got hit. So that may have been your thought process going through that situation. You may have thought that deer was the smartest creature on the planet. But now, there's no doubt in my mind. Non-human animals, they're going to be the next ones up. Zootopia, it wasn't a fictional movie. It was a prophecy for the future. Nostradamus in Disney. It was all there. It was predicting what was going to happen. These animals, these foxes and these rabbits and these wolves and bears and snakes, they're going to overcome all of us. Take over our world. Nah, the age of the human race is over, people. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe we'll all just be wiped out and replaced by androids and robots. That's probably going to be more likely than the other theory. Or maybe not. Let's have our hopes for where the universe and the world will go in the future. I think overall, this was a very helpful experiment. All joking aside, it is incredible to see what animals can do. It's incredible to see, especially rats. Like, when you look at rats, you think, oh, disgusting creatures. They go around in big cities and take food and do this and that. But, I mean, sometimes they're not all bad. I mean, they contribute in some way. They scare off other people. So, I mean, I don't know. If you live in a big city like New York and you got rats outside your apartment and somebody comes in trying to break in, sometimes they'll see that rat and that rat will be huge and they'll be like, ah, and then they'll run away. That's the benefit of having rats everywhere in the city. You know, nobody breaks in anywhere because everybody's scared of rats coming through your house. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You probably don't know what I'm saying. I don't even know. I'm so tired right now. Keep in mind that all of this took a long period of time. So they go into detail about it took weeks to actually train the rats, have them habituate to the environment, and just give them time to learn how to actually use the technology themselves. It's not like they took all these rats in one day and then brought them to their house, gave them a bunch of cheese and sugar water, and then just suddenly the rats were able to know how to just shoot all the demons in level 3. No, that's not what happens. It took several weeks and of planning and maybe even months and years of trial and error and just coming up with different ideas and blueprints for how this experiment was going to succeed. It took time before these rats were finally able to achieve this. That's what makes this really impressive. This trial and error process that science is all about. And these rats, they know what they're doing now. These rats are going to go into the world becoming the next leaders of tomorrow because they learned how to play video games. They learned how to surpass the psychology of the average common rat and become the next faces of the species of rat in the future. Hashtag rats of the future. Hashtag rats as leaders. Hashtag rats for presidents. 2035. Would you have a rat play a video game for you? Would you have a rat sit next to you eating pizza, eating barbecue lays or flaming hot Cheetos, playing that Call of Duty that's coming out next year? Call of Duty 76? Would you have that? Or would you not? I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I don't really like rats. They're really scary. They're huge. They're almost like cats in some places. Like giant cats. I've seen some scary rats in my day. Well, that's going to do it for this one. If you like it, go get some rats. And have them do your laundry. And wash your dishes. And clean everywhere. Have them clean out your fridge every once in a while. Hire some rats to go into your fridge and clean out all the stuff that you don't need anymore. Once you do that, you're on the track to success right there. Don't do any work for yourself no more. Just rely on rats. See you all in the next one.